When I was a boy, I had no awareness of current affairs. My parents read the daily papers and watched the news with breakfast and dinner. But I was more interested in setting fires with magnifying glasses. Nothing much changed at university. When I wasn't at lectures, I was either at the gym or shooting strangers with a catapult. I didn't transform into the intellectual I'd imagined becoming. In my early 20s, I decided I needed to be informed. I carried a broadsheet with me at all times, hoping people would notice me reading it. They didn't. But in my late 20s, I decided to take the news seriously. I subscribed to important magazines, checked the BBC compulsively, and filled my Twitter feed with news from around the globe. In my early 30s, I stopped consuming the news entirely. Here's why. I realised that most news was not relevant to me and my life, and it didn't help me make better decisions. It was consuming a lot of my time that I could have been using on more meaningful pursuits. My understanding of the biggest challenges in the world were also not improving. I found the news was reinforcing biases and stereotypes I already had, rather than challenging them. I was arguing with my friends about issues I didn't understand. It was also destroying my peace of mind. At least once a week, I would read something that would convince me I was on the brink of financial ruin. It was making me cynical about humankind's capacity for good and kindness. And this just didn't align with my everyday experiences. Most people I know and meet are in fact good and kind. I used to spend about 90 minutes a day reading, watching, or engaging with the news on social media, and I'm using that time differently now. I spend more of my time reading books and long-form articles, and I'm noticing over time that they're helping me develop a better understanding of complex issues. I read one weekly magazine from a publisher that has the resources to provide a more or less balanced perspective. Because I read the same magazine every week, I know the format and can skip to the columnists that provide me with the best insights. I also listen to one weekly podcast that prioritizes understanding global issues instead of arguing about them. This is helping me develop a more nuanced understanding of people's opinions from all sides of the political spectrum. I'm arguing less with my friends. I'm also investing the time I used to spend reading the news on creative projects, like this one, that help me further my understanding of issues that are important to me. When I get into conversations with people about the relatively few important topics I understand, I feel like my contribution is at least interesting and at best helpful. So, at the moment, I believe that these approaches make far more sense than what I was doing 5 or 6 years ago. But I also know that many of the things I believed in my early 30s, I now believe to be untrue. So I don't think this is a template that you should just follow blindly. But I do think that the generally held view, certainly among people that care about fairness, equality, and social justice, that the news is something to be followed almost as a matter of duty, is a view that should be questioned. I just don't buy it. In my case, at least, it was impossible to engage with the news without getting sucked in by stories that were designed to attract my attention, that were poorly researched, superficial, or just completely irrelevant. Also, I think for people who are at the earlier point in their career, there's a pervasive view that being up to date with the news will give you a competitive advantage. If anything, my lack of a detailed understanding of complex issues actually hampered my career progression. So I don't think that you should stop consuming the news. But I do think that you should pay attention to how much time you spend doing it, whether or not it's improving your ability to make good decisions, whether or not it's improving your life or the life of other people around you, and also how it makes you feel. And if it's making you unhappy, like it did me, it's worth questioning its value and making more intentional choices about what you consume. Peace.